Hi, my name is Flora Eagan, and I worked with the nonprofit Fair Start for my internship. My site supervisor was Sophia Armstrong, and my faculty advisor was Gretchen Sneakus. In my project titled Driven to Nourish, Analyzing Accessibility of Mobile Food Aid Distribution, I researched the different barriers to Fair Start's community food aid markets. First, let's start off with some context. Food insecurity is increasing nationwide in Washington state, with grocery prices skyrocketing by nearly 30% in the past 5 years. This hits our most vulnerable communities the hardest, with low-income folks having to more heavily rely on food aid from organizations like Fair Start. At these mobile markets, which were basically just a big truck full of fresh produce and occasionally some dry goods, we would distribute free food to those living in low-income and rent-assisted apartments, like Solid Ground and Seattle Housing Authority, located around King County. This effort helps to minimize the financial and emotional burden that these low-income communities face. And while it does not solve the problem at the source, it is an integral piece of the food system that provides aid while we continue working to heal our broken food system. Key aspects of Fair Start's market that I wanted to focus on while researching were payment methods customers used, as well as other challenges that became apparent during my internship, such as language and transportation barriers. As I developed my research, I wanted to determine what factors contribute to the customer accessibility or inaccessibility of the mobile market, and what can we determine about payment methods and their relationship to customer satisfaction and accessibility. During my internship, I supported the mobile market, led gleaning events at Carnation Farms, and received donations that went to Fair Start's other programs. Alongside these responsibilities, I also conducted an online anonymous survey that customers at the mobile markets could fill out either in one of Fair Start's iPads or more popularly by scanning a QR code that took them to a job form. Once all responses were collected, I separated results into two categories: user experience and program structure considerations. I used Excel spreadsheets to create the graphs you're about to see and to analyze results further. However, I did take note of observed challenges that arose with the survey distribution and completion, as many of the mobile markets customers were not native English speakers, and I will discuss this later on in my implications section as well. When analyzing the survey results, I found several interesting patterns. The first being that transportation to the market was the top challenge to customers attending the market, with work or other responsibilities at a close second. Although it is difficult to meet the needs of everyone who would like to come to the market, there is a significant lack of resources needed for people to access these resources. Additionally, the survey was only able to get the opinions of those who were at the market to fill out the survey. This means that there is sampling bias, meaning it did not collect data from those who were not in attendance, leaving a gap in the data, and possibly signifying that even more customers would have responded this way had they not faced one or both of these top challenges. To separate results into the two categories defined earlier, user experience highlighted the lack of transportation to the market. However, from a question about emotional response to the market, users had positive feedback, stating that they felt gratitude, appreciation, and relief when shopping there. In terms of program structure considerations, participants reported neutral to positive experiences with their payment methods. When asked to rate it on a Likert scale, there were no negative responses recorded. Finally, as mentioned, there were some data analysis challenges when deciphering some survey responses. Despite translating the survey into 8 relevant languages for the customer's ease, it was clear that some participants may not have understood the questions in the survey, leading to inaccurate responses. Delving into payment methods further, this graph depicts the percentage of use, preference, and accessibility of the 4 payment methods accepted at the market. As shown, the most used were SNAP EBT and Fair Start vouchers, which are provided by apartment coordinators and provide customers $25 of groceries from the truck for free. Going off of this, preference of both of these methods were the highest, at 50% of respondents approving them each, and accessibility for both exceeding 90%. Something important to note, however, is that SNAP EBT users had one of the lower 2 accessibility ratings comparatively. This is likely due to the lengthy process of checking out with an EBT card compared to simply handing over a paper voucher slip. Finally, survey results included positive emotional responses all around. This word cloud represents all responses to the survey question, what emotion or emotions does using your payment method evoke? With some repetition in the cloud due to multiple respondents submitting the same answer. As you can see, there was definitely high customer satisfaction from this market. All right, let's get into implications. Marginalized communities like customers of Fair Start's mobile markets benefit from the dignified shopping experience the market provides, creating greater accessibility for low-income communities that may face worse food security as a result. However, structural changes to the market's function could improve key access points for some members, including developing preferred payment processes, providing more access to markets by creating transportation opportunities or more market locations, and having on-site language translators when applicable. This could mean more distribution of Fair Start vouchers when possible, so that more customers can use them, as there is only a limited amount distributed to each apartment site. Additionally, SNAP users should have a streamlined checkout experience, as their accessibility levels were on the lower end compared to other payment methods. Another solution could be to increase transportation opportunities to the market in collaboration with other apartment complexes, or possibly increasing the times and locations of the markets based on surveyed responses from customers that could potentially be collected. Finally, in order to ensure all customers are able to navigate the market with ease, it would be beneficial for translators to be on site, helping those that need it. Although the results of the survey are not entirely widely applicable to all food aid distribution sites, due to the unique nature of Fair Start's markets, there is still valuable analysis that can be obtained from this research, and more to be done in order to bridge the gap between customers and accessibility barriers in environments such as these. I'd like to thank my site supervisor, Sophia Armstrong, my faculty advisor, Gretchen Snegas, and my friends and family for supporting me throughout my capstone. Thank you.